Nation, where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web.
Good morning. Today's episode is a conversation with someone I met through a special place for both of us. It was a children's bereavement center in San Antonio, Texas. He's an Air Force veteran. He's a father of 2 daughters. His wife, Chelsea, passed away in December of 2015. And today we're going to talk about love, grief, parenting through loss, and ways we continue to carry the people that we loved forward with us. This is Demetrius. Will you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your family?
Sure. Thank you for inviting me on the podcast. I've been listening to the first few episodes, and I like what you do here. So whenever you reached out and extended an opportunity for me to come on, I gladly accept it. So again, thank you for inviting me to share my perspective here.
Thank you. Demetrius and I have known each other now for almost 10 years.
Right.
We've become really good friends, and it was my pleasure to have him on the podcast. And I just wanted to give a male perspective of loss because it's different. It's not the same as female perspective, and I think it's worth definitely listening to. And it's an honor to have him because a lot of times men don't like to talk about grief. And so I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us about Chelsea and your girls.
I appreciate it. Well, a little bit about me. I consider myself an Air Force military brat. My dad was in the Air Force for 24 years, so I grew up in the military. That's pretty much what I knew for the first 15, 16 years of my life. And but I claim Maryland as home. We moved around quite a bit, but I always claim Maryland because that's where I grew up, more so from middle school through high school. Big time into sports. Played a lot of football, bowled a lot, baseball, golf, a lot of golf. And I'm still a fan. I'm a big Florida State fan, Cowboys fan. So whenever I can, I like to watch as many sports as possible and have a good time cheering my teams on. And as far as my family, I've got a lot of family, especially on my mom's side. We have a lot of reunions here in San Antonio. So really big on family, togetherness, closeness, the bonding that we can get with family get-togethers. That's always been a big part of my life. And I have 2 daughters, as Shauna mentioned earlier. My oldest one is Nivea, she's 20. And the youngest is Reminisce. She just turned 18 and she'll be graduating high school in 2 more months. So I'm excited for what the future holds for both of them.
And I've known them since they were
10 and 7 years old, if I remember correctly.
Because he brought the girls to the bereavement center, and I had brought Athena to the bereavement center, and the girls all got along really well, and we started hanging out a little bit and doing things with the girls. So it was nice. Athena and I, we moved and came back, and so I haven't watched the girls grow up, but I've seen them recently, and they're just beautiful young women that he's raised. But before we start talking about like raising them and the grief and all that, tell me a little bit about your wife Chelsea that passed in December 2015.
Yeah, so she's East Coast girl through and through. When I met her, she's out of Richmond, Virginia, which is close to my heart because I consider myself more so an East Coast guy growing up in Maryland, majority of my life. So we had that connection right there. We love seafood. She wasn't really into sports like I was, but she adopted my teams, so I was gracious enough for that. And she tolerated me, supported me throughout my intramural days of, in the military. So every time I played football or bowling or what have you, whatever sport I was participating in, she would come out, show a lot of support. So she's very supportive. Loved the girls, with all our heart. She was our stepmother. but it's pretty practically like their real mom. She was there for them from a young age all the way up until her passing. So yeah, she was a big part, big heart, wore her heart on her sleeve. She loved hard. So yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about her. She was really a big light in all of our lives.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I'm sure definitely missed. And so she would come out and support you with your all your intramural sports. And was she involved in doing any sports, or did she was a good
She
supporter and just making sure that the girls got there and
Yeah, she was a good supporter, and I tell you, a lot of my teammates, especially for intramural football, loved her
Mhm.
because a lot of teams we played against, they had their wives out there, and their wives would dog us on the field,
Oh,
and she wouldn't let that happen.
oh,
So she would bark right back at their wives. And I remember my teammates looking at me saying, "Man, Thompson, we love your wife.
she's
Your
taking up
wife
for
is
you.
awesome." Yeah, she was taking up for the whole team.
Oh,
So that's just who she was, though. You know,
yeah.
once you're family, that was
Yeah.
it. She cared for you, looked after you. So
I love that. So she was out there like,
she
don't be saying negative things
yeah.
about my guys.
If they wanted to drop some words, she would drop some words too.
All right, all right. I love that. I love that. So I mentioned she passed away in December 2015. What do you remember about that season of life?
Well, I would say the whole 2015, it was tough because she was in and out of the hospital quite a bit that year. Uh, Christmas prior in 2014, she was in the hospital, so we had to spend Christmas visiting her in the hospital, opening presents with the girls in the hospital. So as we progressed through 2015, you know, she was in and out, and so we were worried, will she be in the hospital during Christmas of 2015? And then it looked like she wasn't going to be. Things were trending okay,
Mhm.
so we were all excited about that. We had all the presents ready to be opened, and then unfortunately, you know, she had an episode, had to go into the hospital on December 22nd, and then she wound up passing, you know, the next day on the 23rd. So we didn't get to, you know, have Christmas together, which was her favorite holiday.
Mm,
So that was tough.
yeah.
So that season, that was, it really hit hard. It hit me especially hard, the girls hard. Her, you know, her dad and brothers, it hit them really hard too, because you know they lost their last remaining, you know, female relative in their immediate family. So it was just a rough season for all of us around, you know, when she passed at that unfortunate time, you know, right before Christmas.
Do you want to share with us what she was in the hospital for?
Yeah.
She was in and out.
So we don't have an exact diagnosis. We know it was something with her heart. So, but they never could pinpoint it.
Okay.
So yeah, it was something with the heart. We know the heart was failing,
Okay.
but there wasn't an exact diagnosis
Okay.
of what was going on with her. So we never could get that answer.
Okay. No, just wondering, because yeah, had she previous years from 2014, did she had been in and out, or?
So she started to go in really as soon as we PCS from Florida here to San Antonio.
Okay.
That's so she's I don't know what it was when we came to San Antonio, but she was in the hospital. And yeah, because we got here in December of 2013 and 2014 rolled around, and she had an episode. She had to go into the hospital. She was in for about a week. We got her out, and then she was just in and out for 2014. So we were hoping for a better 2015, but unfortunately, we weren't prepared for, you know, what was really going to happen in 2015 by losing her.
Because you had gotten used to the rhythm of her coming in and out of the
Yeah,
hospital.
yeah,
So it was kind of surprising that she wasn't come out.
it was. That
Okay.
that was definitely surprising.
Okay.
You know.
I'm so sorry. Um, talking about surprises, and because of that, what surprised you about your grief in those early months? Because you had gotten used to Chelsea being in and out of the hospital, like you said, and then that was kind of your norm.
It was.
And then all of a sudden she didn't come out,
Mhm.
and it was around Christmas.
Yeah.
The girls were
Out.
yeah, expecting her to come out.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that, like the early months there.
Yeah, the early months, I would say that the first month was probably the toughest because when you lose a loved one, you have the milestones that you're getting prepared for. Okay, you're going through first birthdays without her, anniversary, things of that nature. So I mean, literally right away, you know, not talking about Christmas, but January 5th would have been our anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so she passed right before, less than 2 weeks prior to our anniversary.
Mhm.
And then her birthday was on the 26th
Oh,
of January.
oh, so a lot of things, Christmas, y'all's anniversary, now her
And
birthday.
her birthday. So that first month really hit hard when it came to grief. And yeah, so I wasn't in the I would say I wasn't in the best shape, mentally at that time. Dealing with those three things, back to back to back. It hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then trying to manage that with the girls too was tough. But yeah, the first few months, I would say uh, having a personal counselor, and then that I always say thank God for Chaplain Tatum, uh, who his wife actually told him about the Children's Bereavement Center.
Okay.
And if it wasn't for him and his wife, I would not have known about that resource that was there for the girls and I. And I tell you, getting involved with them really helped a lot, especially being able to sit and talk with other parents that were going through, the loss and what to do with the kids and how the kids were handling it, how we were handling it. So I would say being able to participate in that really helped early on with the grief,
Okay.
as well as having my own, personal counseling through the military side of the house. So
Okay. So at the bereavement center, they would allow the girls or children to come in and go to counseling, and they did a lot of play therapy. And then the parents, while the children were there, we would all get together kind of in a group and we would talk to one another and just get to know each other, hang out. We also would eat dinner prior.
right,
We did that a couple of times. We would like before everything started, they would have some
different
people
groups.
that would volunteer to bring food and like give us our families a meal and we'd all eat together. And then the girls would go to their counseling and then the parents would sit in like a group and I think Demetrius and there were maybe two other men.
Yeah, at the time I was there wasn't a lot of men that showed
There
up.
were not,
Yeah, there may
no.
have been four,
Yeah,
four
3 or 4.
that I can remember.
But they, but it was good to see. There were a few men, but it is rare that men like seek out. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have Demetrius on the podcast is because I think it's important to know that men are grieving and they just, it looks a little different. So if you have men in your life that have lost someone, don't always just assume because they're not reaching out that they're just perfectly fine. I would think. I don't know as I speak.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. And there's always that thing about men. We're tough. We're strong. We don't need therapy. We we'll grieve, but we don't need to grieve in that way. But I'm here to say that's false. Kill that stereotype. We can grieve how you need to grieve. You need help. Seek out the help that you need because I tell you what, if you're not healthy, there's no way your kid's gonna be healthy.
Yeah,
So,
so true. So good. Thank you. Yeah. Um, gonna ask you a few more questions. Thank you for sharing, being vulnerable about those first few months and how it was difficult for you. But it did seem like you reached out and well, had people reaching out to you.
right.
Okay. Um, so we're gonna talk a little bit more about you being a father, because, you have the 2 girls and how old were they when, Chelsea passed?
So this was 2015, so they were 10 years old, the oldest and 7, the youngest at that
Okay.
point. So they're early on in their developmental stages.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was tough to lose, the mom right there
Yeah.
at that point in time.
So talk to me a little bit about that in regards to losing Chelsea. And Chelsea, for all intents and purposes, he said that she was their stepmother, but she was their mother. That's the girls were babies when she was in their lives.
Right.
And so how did losing Chelsea at those ages like change your parenting of your daughters? Like how did that affect? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So now I lost the woman in the house, right, to help out and teach them more of the little from transitioning from a young woman, young girl to, a younger woman to the teenage years and to adulthood. So during that phase right there, I missed out on having that more nurturing presence in the house. A lot of us guys, we aren't as nurturing sometimes as the mother in the house. And then me having the background of being in the military, that hardened me even more to where I didn't take a lot of BS, right? And so now I had to soften my tones a little bit more.
Okay, did you intentionally did
I
that?
intentionally did that because I knew that I couldn't bark at them. I had to bark at them when needed, but I needed to be a little more soft. I needed to provide some more of that softer role for them at that age
Mm,
because I can see that they needed it and they desperately needed it and missed it. And I also would, you know, try to, my dad would help out. My mom, when she was around, would look after them and try to help out with them as much as she could too. But parenting them after Chelsea in those early stages was difficult to maneuver. I got a lot of help. I will say I had some other friends that would volunteer that I worked with to do their hair.
okay, yeah, I remember you telling me you had a friend that would help you with their hair. Okay.
Right. So that really took, a little bit of a burden off me because I wasn't ready to do their hair
Braid in their
at
hair.
that moment. And then they taught me, okay, this is what you need to do just to keep the hair
Okay.
looking good. Cause I would send them to school and they would come back home with their hair looking a little bit better than where I would send them out.
Oh, okay.
Teachers would help me
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was rough going
Oh,
early on, but it improved.
yeah.
I would say that's sometimes one of the things that a man may have an advantage over a woman going through grief is for women. Sometimes they think, oh, you'll be okay. You can get through it as a woman. But for a man, oh my gosh, you're a guy going through this with two girls. We want to give you all the help we can. We want to reach out to you. I've seen that from, that's what I observed at least.
Yeah.
Everybody was willing
Me
to bend
too.
over backwards to
Yeah.
help me out. If you need us to watch the girls, we'll watch them. And so I did lean on a lot of coworkers, friends, family to help out.
But that's really good though that you had that,
Yeah.
and that you accepted the help. I will say that because there's some people that have a hard time accepting help, and maybe not saying that. A lot of times women have a hard time accepting help too. So
True.
it's like a balance. So I guess what we would say if people are offering help, man or woman, accept the help. Yeah, because.
Yep.
But you're right. I will say that I've noticed in my widower journey, like having friends that are widowers, is that people, and I will say I'll be like specifically women come out of the woodworks to help you, where as a widow, that is not the same. We're like, hello, is anyone there? So that is true. So so I guess we're just letting everyone know, man or woman, they need help. Offer to help them with different things. Not all women know how to do hair, right? And
Right.
so help your friends out. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a note to be acknowledged that um that you did accept the help, because a lot of times you might be like, I got it, I got the girls, and but you were like, oh please, yes, help me.
Me too. Quick, big shout out and thank you to the Air Force Security Forces Center where I was stationed at that
Oh,
time.
at Lackland.
I was a CE guy, so working in the field of cops was difficult sometimes, but they treated me like family. organized meal trains for me. They would bring meals almost every night. Somebody different would bring a meal in those early stages for the girls and I, just so I wouldn't have to worry about cooking and getting the meal. So a big shout out to the Security Forces Center. I'm still close with a lot of them. They're still my family. So I have two, military families, my CE family, which when I was in, and then my Security Forces family who dealt with me during that tragedy.
Oh, awesome. They stepped up. So good job, guys. Good job. Thanks for helping. And it's important if you have someone in your community, be it work or church or wherever it may be, just see what they need. And sometimes they don't know what they need. So just kind of offer. Like they probably didn't say, hey, you need some food. They just said, we're giving you some food, right?
Right.
And so it's important to step up and like help where you think you would need help in those situations. So that's important.
Yep.
Okay, so what did grief look like inside your home for your daughters, if you want to share that?
Yeah. So for them,
Because they were younger.
they were young.
And then talk to me like the span, even now. Can you just go ahead and cover that? Like from when they're little to as they've grown. Because I just had Athena on and she told a little bit. So talk about your girl.
Yeah, I know earlier on they were scared because now that it, it's always been real. You talk to them, well, people will die eventually, but when it smacks you in the face at that young of an age, it scared them early on. So they would have conversations. They would be scared. Yeah, what happens if you die?
Oh, well.
Right. So I had to have some sit down talks with them a lot at that age, just to say, hey, I said, let's not worry about that. But in the event that something like that were to happen to me, my mom and dad are here to step up and take care of you. I have other family here that if need be, they can help as well. So I had to reassure them early on that if something did happen to me, that they would be taken care of because that was a big concern for them.
Especially in your situation, because you were still active duty.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
chance that something could happen to
Yeah.
them. Right. So that they were concerned, they were worried. I know Nivea, my oldest, she tried to, in some cases to fill a mother's shoes. And I had to tell her on numerous occasions, step back, you're a child. Let me be the parent, you be the child. You're not your sister's, mother. Let me do the parenting, you just be the big sister that she'll need you to be, and she'll be the little sister that you need her to be. So earlier on, it was those, okay, we gotta talk about certain things. Not just be in your child role and let me be the parent role, and then you're gonna be okay if something happens to me. And I also had to let them know that it was okay, to show emotions. I showed some emotions just to let them know that it was okay because sometimes they take the cues from the parent that's left behind, right? So how do I grieve? If they can see that I can grieve and still be okay, then they can do the same thing. They can grieve and know that it's going to be okay as well. And then as we continue to progress, it got a little challenging, I will say, for Remy. It started to hit her a little bit more as she hit middle school.
Because she was 7.
She was 7 when it happened. So she was full speed ahead. Right after she was 7, I mean, we wanted to hold her back from getting tested for gifted and talented. Even the principal said we should. She wanted to test. She tested and passed it with flying colors. So she was very resilient. Just put her focus on something and she was able to knock that out and complete it. But yeah, she hit middle school. It's a transition. You're going through a lot more. You want more independence now. Your brains have opened more. You understand a lot more. So more pressures on you in school and social.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that mixed with that, and then the grief of seeing the friends and other, people with their mom, and she didn't have her mom anymore. That period of time from I would say seventh, 8th grade, which also coincided with me PCSing to Little Rock and them having to stay back with my mom and dad.
That's right.
So I left. So now you have the person that was there, the stability, the father is now gone. And I'm 9.5 hours away from them in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I know that was tough on her as well. So my dad's not here. I'm going through this. my grandma's okay, but I'd much rather talk to my dad about certain things and get hugs from him.
Mm.
So for her, it was tough. It was tough for Olivia to witness her sister going through a lot of those battles that she had to go through. But
And that was just a short term
mhm.
TV, like a, well, extended. It was kind of like a deployment.
So I got orders to move. I had an assignment,
Okay.
but thankfully I was only there for probably about 23 months, right short of 2 years.
Okay.
Because yeah, had to take one more assignment before I retired. So I was going there practically to retire.
Yeah, I was putting out there, so like that's why you chose not to move the girls, because you knew you'd
Yeah.
be coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was going overseas or something, they would have come with me.
Yeah.
But with me just going to Arkansas, they were able to stay and my parents could take care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your mom and dad have really stepped up often to help with them, right?
They have.
Yes.
I'll say my dad was here when Chelsea passed. He was in San Antonio. My mom was still in Maryland and trying to sell the house before she could
That's
come
cool.
back. So thankfully, my dad was here. Then my mom joined up around the summer of 2016, and then they've been, just that force for me. They've always, been the backbone for me, but even more so, knowing what I was going through and what the girls are going through, they really stepped up
That's
in a
wonderful.
big way.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then into now, I don't see much grief now. I know there's still, a miss her still, but I don't see how it was when they were 10, 7, and then when they were in middle school, high school, to where they are now. It's a big difference now.
Okay.
They've learned to grieve with it, even though they still have some
Mm.
memories, some painful memories. They've definitely, through the bereavement center and their own volition and talking with me, they've been able to process and be stable.
Yeah. With Niv graduated high school 2 years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
90,
I
mean 90. 2023, right?
Yeah, 23, right. Yeah, yep, right.
And same as Athena. Okay.
Mhm.
And then Remy is graduating this year.
This year,
Okay. Do
right.
you see with Niv, did you see any raise of grief or anything with her mom not being there for the graduation? And then does Remy mention anything?
No,
No.
they don't. I'm always willing to listen if they need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
That's usually big times in our life. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. No, they haven't. I know it. They would of course love to have her graduation.
Yeah.
Big milestones. Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely what we've missed,
Mhm.
especially when other friends have
But they've learned that, she's part of it, even if she's not here or something, they've made peace with it, it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. How did you balance being strong for them while grieving for yourself? You've told us a little bit about that,
Mhm.
but can you tell us, share a little bit more?
Well, one of the things, like I say, I'll go through my background in the military. One of the things I can do very well is compartmentalize. So I've always been able to do that. That's a gift that I have.
I think that's something the military does teach you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that
Yeah,
myself.
we're able to, that's one thing, we can compartmentalize better than anybody else, it seems, right?
Right, talking to the choir here. for
Yeah,
Military radio,
yeah,
press radio. Yeah.
exactly. So being able to say, okay, I have grief over in this bucket, and and I have, okay, how myself and how I'm able to maintain over here. It's just made everything is work life, home life, everything is compartmentalized, and yeah, I mean, going through being strong, while I was going through that grief, it was, I will say, I've always prided myself on being somebody who can bounce back, and be
Okay.
resilient. And throughout my career, I had to be bounce back and be resilient through ups and downs and different stages of life.
Mm.
And this right here was no doubt, hands down, the worst, thing that could happen to me at that point
Yeah.
in time. So it was tougher to compartmentalize that one. I'll be honest, because there's, I can't tell you how many days in a row, how many months in a row where it was just every day there was shedding tears, behind closed doors, and then wiping them away, putting my uniform on, going to work, coming home from work, going to the room, shed some more tears,
Yeah.
take my uniform off, and then, deal with the girls, right?
Yeah.
So it was tough. Um,
Not everything needs to be compartmentalized
Yeah.
all the time.
yeah, not everything needs to be.
Yeah.
And I would say that especially for us guys, it's okay to cry, shed tears when you need to, especially going through something like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing macho about holding it in. Is let it out. I just didn't let it out and just fall all over the place.
Right.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I let it out when I needed to.
Yeah.
I showed the girls the healthy way you can let out your emotions and how we can deal with it together too.
That's good. Yeah, because the next question was about the difference of you being a man and your grief, but it sounds like you touched on that a little bit. Do you have anything to add about that? Like, so compartmentalizing, you feel that's because you're a man, or do you feel that's more your military training? What's your opinion on that?
Mm,
Just your feeling?
I would say the military really helped with that.
Okay.
Really helped with that a lot more.
Uh-huh.
Because I growing up, I could compartmentalize certain aspects. Once I joined the military, it really helped.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've learned to compartmentalize really well too. Um, which is a good and a bad thing. I will say that sometimes you compartmentalize things that you need to process, but it does allow you to function better. You're able to like, okay, I will deal with that later. But I will say this, because I don't want people to go out there and like compartmentalize everything. I would say this, compartmentalize, but then always come back and process that. Don't not deal with it. Because if you don't, then it will come back and deal with you.
Yeah, I'll say that's where having the bereavement center or my therapy sessions one-on-one was really big because I could bring things to the table there that maybe I was dealing with, compartmentalize it, how I could let it out, right?
Yeah, they allowed you to like learn to not just like put it over there in a box, like to bring it out and kind of face it and deal with it. That's good. That's good. I don't, now, the bereavement center was only for the girls, because I didn't ever get any counseling.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
you just went on your own to.
Right.
Okay.
I reached out military wide.
Yeah. Good. I'm proud of you for doing that. Yeah, it's important. Thanks for sharing a little bit about how men process. That's important. Do you have anything else to add about like kind of how you maybe processed as a man and uniquely having daughters?
Uniquely.
Yeah, like, do you think that changed? Because you did mention that you tried to show them a healthy way to grieve. Do you think you would have done that if you had sons? Just wondering. My little.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, sons or daughters, I would have, because everybody needs to see a healthy way
Yeah.
to process it. Um, yeah, if I would have had sons, maybe I could have been. You can be a little tougher sometimes on the boys. Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Just depends on what they need. Depending on what they need, but yeah, the girls softened me. Definitely softened me a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I always deal with it the best way too. I want to put that out there. Like it was a walk in the park, right? Sometimes I made some terrible decisions, in grief. That's the human side of it.
As we do.
Yeah.
If we were only perfect, right?
Yeah.
Grief is
Yeah.
not something that you can get perfect.
Nope.
No.
You sure
It
can.
kind of,
There's no playbook for it.
no.
Yeah. No step-by-step guide on it.
So staying on the same topic, like what helped you move forward when things did get heavy? So when you did cry behind the closed door, you mentioned the counseling helped. What else? Do you have anything else that helped you when things?
Just my teammates, at the Security Force Center. I was playing on the intramural basketball team when this all happened. And so they would constantly reach out to check up on me. My first sergeant would contact me. A lot of folks that I work with, they reached out and we hung out. They
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that I was in a good headspace.
Oh, good.
So they took me out just to have a good time. We'll watch movies, play basketball, just do whatever, just to get away.
That's wonderful. So you had a lot of community support.
I did.
Yeah.
I had plenty of community support that helped get me through. Yeah, like I said, really good friends that I was able to call and speak with. So yeah, they all helped me get through those painful moments of that, especially that first year. That was the most trying, the first year.
Just you would just talk with them, or you said they would come and take you out, huh?
So we would
Good.
go and watch movies, go bowling, sporting events. They would bring me around some of their friends and family. So yeah,
Okay.
it was good.
That's really, yeah.
I needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I had a lot of family in San Antonio, so I was always able to hang out with them as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You have cousins and aunts and uncles and your mom and dad.
Dad had time grandmother. So yeah, we were all able to just get together and love on one another.
And yeah, you and the girls. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
That is good. That is good. How do you think that your grief has changed you?
Well, it's I would say I know how to I will know how to deal with it a lot better. You know, if something were to happen in the future.
Mm. Oh,
I
I
can
gotcha.
talk to a lot more people about it and be a lot more comfortable in
Mm.
discussing grief. You know, I've had people who've lost other family members that I was able to talk with and just to help them, try to help them the best I could, just give them an ear. A lot of people just need an ear.
Okay, so you've talked to others and
Mhm.
in regards to like what you've had to deal with.
Right.
And,
So yeah, so that helps. You know, I've always prided myself on being resilient, like I said, but it's made me even more
okay.
resilient going through that worst stage of my life and getting through it. Right. So it just
You
keeps
faced something that you didn't
never
think
expect.
you expect.
You know,
And,
I would have. I knew that I was probably going to outlive her, but I thought we had a lot more time.
yeah.
To be honest with you, whenever things are going on with her heart, I just figured, okay, I'm going to probably outlive her.
Mm.
But I thought I had another 10, 15, 20 years
Yeah.
to spend with her.
Especially.
Didn't realize I had a year, less than a year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then that's a lot because you're you know she's ill, but you got in that rhythm, and then the girls were in that rhythm, and then you you hoped that you would have like probably at least till the girls were grown up, and
yeah, we had plans.
yeah.
Plans never get to come to fruition.
I will say I've seen you change a bit in the time that I've known you. You're more open to talk about things. Yeah. Um, yeah. So you feel that it's made you even more resilient. You're more open to talking about loss and
Right.
emotions. Um, and anything else, like maybe in regards to the girls, you feel like you've walking through life with them and grief, and as that.
Yeah, grieving when you have responsibilities of raising, that's really rough.
Yeah.
It's tough, but yeah, they've shown me how uh, resilient they can be as well,
Yeah.
going through this situation. It's I would say it's been a joy to have them as I was going through the grief. Two girls, daddy's girls.
Yeah.
To get lots of hugs.
Yeah.
Lots of hugs from. I'll say it hasn't. It's I want to say it's made me soft, but it has softened me a lot more.
Yeah.
Through grief. I'm not as hardcore as I was when I retired from the military.
Mm.
It's kind of maybe being a girl dad. Going through those stages. It's yeah. So it's softened me up a little bit more going through the grief, and then having the girls with me going through the grief, and we're all grieving together. So
I can see that. It's made you a little softer because you're less likely maybe to overreact or be like, suck it up, or
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
it's like you let them have their emotions.
yeah, I look at the moment. I'm a lot more, I can at least more tolerant of it. A lot
Okay.
more tolerant than I was in
Okay.
the past.
Pass.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Those are all good things. So, what are some ways you keep Chelsea's memory alive with the girls?
Yeah, so I know Chelsea and I, we had plans to retire to an island, right? So we're gonna live on an island and just live out our life in bliss, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
When she passed, weren't gonna have that anymore. But the one thing I could do with the girls is say, hey, we can let's take vacations, in her honor. So we waited a year, and then in 2017, went on a cruise, went to the Bahamas, so we got to spend some time on the island there.
Yeah.
And 2018, went to go see her dad and brothers. In
Oh.
2019, we went to Turks and Caicos,
Yeah.
another island, right, just to live out that dream. So I would say what we do when we traveling was been something big. COVID hit, we couldn't do much traveling. 2020, 21, I was in Little Rock, and 22 also.
Yeah.
When I came back, we were able to do some more traveling, Puerto Rico and Panama,
Yeah, I was gonna say Panama.
Germany, Belgium, France. So we were able to do a lot more traveling. And I would say it was in her honor. Since she's not here with us, we can still travel on behalf of her and still have a good time amongst each other.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I wanted to instill, a love of travel, because I love travel just like you do.
Yeah.
And she would have, but now the girls, they really like it, especially Remy. She's big
Got the
now.
travel bug.
Yeah, she was the biggest, attractor at first. She didn't want to travel.
No, I do remember you saying that. Yeah.
Now she loves it. So I think I've, accomplished what I wanted to with them.
You guys got to go to Japan with each other.
Yeah,
That's right.
to Japan last summer.
Yeah.
That was a nice tour. So that was Remy and I got to go.
Yeah.
And we had an amazing time out there. So I look forward to seeing what they do in the future with travels, and how they continue this on and with their own family.
I love that. And that's in honor of Chelsea,
Mhm.
keeping the travel going.
That's it.
Oh, that's
That's what I
wonderful.
wanted to do for her. I said, we're going to travel with her since she can't travel with us.
Oh, I love that. That's so special. So you get to just remember her and think and like travel for her, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
She's watching
Yeah.
you guys,
Yeah.
seeing what you're doing and enjoying the travel with you. That's wonderful.
Yep.
So we're gonna start coming to a close, but I want you, if you would, to like, if there's a person that a male that just recently lost their spouse, um, what would you have to say to them? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say don't tough it out. Don't try to be macho about it. It's okay to grieve. You grieve when you need to. Reach out to people. One of the things us males we're good at is letting pride, take over, and not accept the help or reach out for the help that we truly do need. If you're not going to seek therapy or counseling, I hope you have a good friend group that you can talk to, a good family that you can talk to, because you need to have an outlet. Don't bottle it up on the inside. You need to express how you're feeling, in those moments, because if you bottle it up, it's not going to do you any good. Or trust me, initially I was bottling things up, and I just realized I knew that I was going to need to seek out some professional help. And I went and did that on the military side of the house, and then Children's Bereavement Center became an option for the girls. Little did I know we were going to have groups, to help me process even more, as a parent. So I would definitely say just make sure you have an outlet, men. We need it.
Yeah, and you can build lifelong friendships with widows. Yeah. Other people that have done,
Yeah.
And widowers that have, traveled the same road as you, maybe just a different shade. So that's good advice, not to let it just eat you up inside, because even if you think you've compartmentalized it enough, right, it begins to eat away at that box that you've put it in.
Right.
I think I tried to do that too a bit. So, and it comes out at the least, the worst possible time is where I'm what I was trying to, worst possible time, and it'll show up and be like, okay, you got to deal with me, this grief, this sadness, all that. What's one thing Chelsea taught you about love that you still carry forward today?
I will say just how she cared, right? She had a big heart, and it showed me that I needed to probably open up my heart a little bit more.
Mhm.
It was more closed off before I met her.
Okay.
And so she showed me, yeah, just how it would look, when you just cared a little more, opened your heart a little more, be more accepting. So
So
that right there was probably the biggest thing.
the biggest lesson about love that she
Open
gave
up
you
the heart.
to actually open your heart, to be a little more vulnerable, to let
Yep.
people in.
Yeah, because I was definitely more sheltered, closed off.
Yeah. Well, that's a great lesson. I'm glad Chelsea, in her life and her living, brought that to you and to the girls. I'm sure they've
Right.
probably seen that, felt that from her. So they
Mhm.
probably carry that with them too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Demetrius, for sitting and talking with me about your grief. Um, I don't, that I'm aware of. He hasn't talked to like maybe just one-on-one with the friends and stuff about grief. So I feel special that he sat down and would speak to my audience and with me in regards to his loss and his life and his girls and his Chelsea. Um, just thanks for sharing Chelsea's story. I think it's important that we do speak our spouses' names and share their stories and their life, because what their journey was in your life and in your daughter's life is important to all of us. We can all learn to open up our hearts and be a little bit more accepting to others.
Yep.
So grief may have changed us, but love doesn't leave us. It's because everything that we learn from our spouses and learn from the love we had with them, we're able to carry that forward into our lives and be better people. So if you feel that anyone would benefit from this message or would love to hear Demetrius's male perspective on grief, please share and let your friends know. Thanks for being with us today. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching and listening to Military Broadcast Radio on Roku TV. If you missed today's episode, the podcast will be available on
and all major platforms shortly after we go off the air. We're here for you, not for us, giving veterans a voice. This is Military Broadcast Radio.